It's the night of the 26th of March, 1941. The battle for Greece is on, but in Souda Bay, the Royal Navy sailors are sleeping peacefully. The main Allied anchorage in the Mediterranean island of Crete is incredibly well protected against attackers. It has 3 lines of nets and searchlights that regularly sweep the harbour. And if anyone was foolhardy enough to try a raid, several coastal artillery batteries would finish the job. No Axis naval unit would be foolish enough to brave these defences, except for a team of 6 very determined men. Today's video is sponsored by Magellan TV. Magellan TV is an amazing hub of documentaries and has the richest and most varied content that specialises in history. There are a ton of documentaries we could have shown you extracts for, but we loved the Battle of the Alps. Like today's video, stories of extreme heroism fascinate us, and the Battle for the Alps definitely ticks that box. As France collapsed on all sides, it was attacked from several directions at once. The Alpine troops, though, stood their ground to protect their homeland. The Alpine troops fought against Italian infantry for several days, during which the infantry lost over 6,000 men, with only around 100 losses on the French side. It's an incredible story of bravery where tough men use the inhospitable mountain environment to their advantage. Please check out this amazing story on Magellan TV. Magellan TV's mission is to tell the great stories that have shaped humanity, and Magellan has over 3,000 documentaries to choose from, including a bunch in 4K, with new ones added each week. Magellan TV works on any device or connected TV, and especially for Yarnhub viewers, you can get 1 month for free. So if you are passionate about history and would like to support the channel, then please click the link below and take a look at their outstanding content. At 5 minutes to midnight, with no moon and calm seas, 2 destroyers of the Italian Navy drop 6 motorboats some 10 miles northeast of Souda, and from there the small vessels in single file, silently and stealthily, make their way towards the Allied harbour. At 2:30 AM on the 26th, the assault teams reach Souda and sight their first obstacle, a British destroyer patrolling the entry of the bay. Unseen by her searchlights, the teams, with their hearts racing, slip by unnoticed. At 2:45 AM, the mission commander, Naval Lieutenant Fagioni, reaches the first barrier. The men take turns to lower the buoys as their motorboats sail through quietly. After what seems a lifetime, the 6 craft have negotiated all 3 barriers. They're in the lion's mouth. They are surrounded by the enemy, the point of no return. Slipping into the darkness, Fagioni decides he should get as close to the targets as he can to get his intelligence. His motorboat hums away at minimum speed, and the men are left to their thoughts. Time is passing on, and with dawn rapidly approaching, the men are nervous. Thankfully, they hear the gentle noise of the engine as Lieutenant Fagioni looms out of the darkness, smiling. There are some big fish to be had tonight. Sub-Lieutenant Cabrini and Chief Petty Officer Tedeschi will attack the heavy cruiser HMS York. Chief Petty Officer Bacciati will take care of a large oil tanker, the Pericles. Fagioni and Master Gunner De Vito will wait in reserve and strike at the York should anything go wrong. As the sun slowly rises over Souda, Fagioni notices that HMS York is coming to life and may be about to move. "She's about to leave port, boys. Time to move," he calls out. Cabrini and Tedeschi maneuver their small launches into position to about 300 yards from their target. While not as large as a battleship, the cruiser stands out like a leviathan against the morning sky. She is 575 feet long, displaces 8,250 tons, and is armed with 6 203mm guns, 8 100mm anti-aircraft guns, and 22 heavy machine guns, as well as 6 torpedo launchers. How can 2 men on motorboats take on such a beast? The truth is, these are not ordinary motorboats. Cabrini and Tedeschi are piloting MTMs, modified tourism motorboats, designed by 2 cousins of the Italian king. These launches are powered by an Alfa Romeo engine capable of reaching a speed of 39 miles an hour, but most importantly, each is equipped with a warhead of 660 pounds of TNT. At 5:30 AM, the 2 raiders start the engines and soon head full throttle towards the side of the York, leaving behind 2 perfectly parallel wakes. The Alfa Romeo engines are now roaring against the silence of the dawn. The men think they've been spotted by the British, and Cabrini can see the crew aboard the York frantically manning the deck guns. But the British are preparing and firing their anti-aircraft guns, believing they're under air attack. It's just 100 yards from the York now. Flat out, full speed is reached. At this distance, it can either end in death or capture, but defeat is out of the question. Cabrini and Tedeschi have trained for months for this maneuver. They lock the rudders, then yank the levers to their right. Their seats are violently ejected into the water, becoming improvised rafts. The two sailors scramble away from their target, knowing what comes next. The MTMs almost simultaneously ram the side of the cruiser. Now it's time for the warheads to do their job. First, only 2 small explosions go off from the bow of the boats. The burst immediately sends the small vessels sinking, right next to the cruiser's hull. For what seems like an eternity, nothing happens, but the men know what's going on. The 2 small blasts are by design. They're needed to send the MTM's bows underwater. When the small boats reach a preset depth, hydrostatic pressure triggers the main charges. 1,320 pounds of TNT go off in 2 massive explosions, tearing gaping wounds into the side of the York. Water pours through the gash in the hull, flooding the engine rooms. The cruiser begins to list, slowly sinking into the shallow bay. Cabrini and Tedeschi are still floating on their rafts when more explosions resonate around the Souda Bay. Their comrade, Chief Petty Officer Becciati, has scored a hit against the Pericles, the tanker displacing more than 8,000 tons. Fagioni and the remaining 2 raiders have launched their MTMs against the cruiser HMS Coventry, but its mission is a failure, with the boats either exploding against floating debris or running aground. By 7 a.m, Fagioni and his men have all been captured by the British. The Pericles will be towed away to Alexandria for repairs, but splits in half and is sunk en route. HMS York is beached and used as anti-aircraft batteries for the rest of the war. With the daring raid on Souda Bay, the Royal Navy suffered 2 total losses, amounting to more than 16,000 tons of shipping, but no human casualties. In this incredibly daring raid, the brave men of the 10th Flotilla MAS lost 6 MTMs and 6 men captured, a very small price compared to the toll exacted on the Royal Navy. Fagioni and his men would eventually receive the Medaglia d'Oro, the Italian equivalent of the Medal of Honor. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel and please watch more videos of ours. Thank you.